Hello and welcome to another Kids Cook at Home class. I'm Macy, I'm your registered dietitian. If you are new here, welcome to our class. I'm so glad to have you. And if you have participated before, I'm so glad you're back. Today we are going to be preparing a strawberry oatmeal bar. It's the perfect Valentine's Day treat. It's great for a snack or as a breakfast option. We are going to start today's class out by washing our hands as always, and we are going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. So you can go ahead and pause here and do that now. Once you have your hands washed and the oven preheating, our first step is going to be to grab some nonstick spray and an 8x8 baking dish, and we are going to go ahead and spray our dish. So we're going to shake up our spray, go ahead and give that a good spray all over, and then that's all there is to that. Our next step is going to be to crack the 2 eggs that we're using in this recipe. So you can go ahead and grab 2 eggs and a small bowl, and we'll meet back here for our next step. All right, so to crack our eggs, we like to use a separate bowl just in case any shells sneak in there. We can fish those out afterwards. So all we're going to do, and you might want to have an adult help you with this step, is we're going to take our egg and press it down onto a flat surface until there's a crack, and then we're going to put both thumbs in that crack, pull apart, and then we're just going to go ahead and toss our shell away. And then we'll go ahead and do that with our next egg as well. And for our next egg, we are going to do the same thing. So go ahead and hit it to the flat surface, take your thumbs, pull apart the shells, and then go ahead and toss the remaining eggshells. And anytime that we're working with raw eggs, we want to make sure that we wash our hands afterwards. So you can go ahead and pause now and do that. Now that we have cracked our eggs, we are going to move to our next step so we can set these aside, and we are going to grab a liquid measuring cup, milk, and our 2 bananas and meet back here. So next we are going to peel our bananas and measure out our milk. So we can start out by grabbing our bananas. I'm using ones that are a little more on the ripe side. So if you have the option, choose bananas that are a little more brown and ripe. So we can go ahead and peel both of these, and I'm just going to set these aside in a separate bowl. Peel our second one. Oop. So next up, we are going to measure out our milk. And so anytime that we are measuring liquids, we want to make sure that we're using a liquid measuring cup and that we get down to eye level with the line so we know the amount that we're measuring is accurate. So we are going to measure out 1.5 cups today. So I'm going to find that amount. And then we're going to get down to eye level, and we're going to pour that in. My 1.5, and then we're good to go. So our next step, we are going to grab a large bowl, grab the rest of our liquid ingredients, and then we are going to go on to that next step, which is to mix all of those ingredients together. We have our liquid ingredients and our banana that we just peeled. So we are going to start with adding our banana to our bowl, and grab a fork, and we are going to mash that up. And the riper your banana is, the easier this step will be. Okay, and then once our banana is nice and mashed and looking like this, then we can add the rest of our ingredients to this bowl. So we have our milk, our eggs, our vanilla, and maple syrup. Once those are all added together, then we can go ahead and grab a whisk, and we are going to whisk this all together. Okay, and then once everything is nice and combined, then we're going to set this aside, and we're going to move on to our next step, which is to cut up our strawberries. So go ahead and wash your strawberries under running water and come back here, and we will move to that step. Our next step is going to be to cut up our strawberries that we have washed. So we are going to use 1/2 cup for the topping and 3/4 cup to put into the dish. So we'll start out with slicing our 1/2 cup of strawberries for the topping, and please use the help of an adult while cutting your strawberries. So we'll start out by cutting off the top, Setting that aside, and then while keeping our fingers away from the knife, we are going to slice our strawberries pretty thinly all the way to the end of the strawberry. And then you can continue doing this until you have 1/2 cup of sliced strawberries. And then next we are going to chop our 3/4 cup. So we are going to start the same way by cutting off the top of our strawberries and slicing them. But then we are going to take our slices, you can stack 2 on top of each other, and we are going to then cut them into long strips. And then from there, we're going to turn them over, push them together, and then we're going to cut them just a little bit smaller. And then fill up our 3/4 cup until it is full. So we're going to do the same thing. I stack 2 strawberries, cut them into longer strips, and then cut them one more time. Our next step is to mix together all of our dry ingredients. So go ahead and pause here and get those measured out and grab a medium to large size bowl. So we are just going to go ahead and start dumping all of our ingredients in. So we have our oats, our chia seeds, cinnamon, baking powder and salt I have in here as well, and the strawberries that we chopped. And then you can go ahead and mix those all together. Once you have that all mixed up, then our next step is going to be to grab that bowl of our wet ingredients that we mixed together prior, and we are going to add these together. So for our next step, we are going to take our liquid and pour it into our dry ingredients and give that a good mix. Beautiful. And then once that's all combined, we can grab our baking dish that we sprayed prior and pour that in. From here, we are going to grab our sliced strawberries and just lay those out on the top. All right, and now all there's left to do is to pop this in the oven until it is nice and brown on top, and then we can go ahead and enjoy those when they're all done. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Kids Cook at Home class. I hope you enjoyed the recipe we prepared today, and if you're feeling inspired, you will find a bonus Valentine's Day recipe at the bottom of the setup guide, and it's super easy to make. You will also find a survey there. I love to hear from families, so if you have any feedback about this class, I would love to hear it, and you will be entered in a drawing for a chance to win a $25 gift card to one of our stores just for filling out that survey. Thank you again for joining me. Our next class is in May, and I hope that you will join me again then.